Welcome back. Today we are gonna be looking at Satisfactory again, and yeah, there were an updates. They were a little while ago, but they added some new stuff, and I finally managed to get to the new stuff, and I wanted to share my experience with you. I pretty much haven't really touched those new stuff. But what I was doing, and where we are standing right here, is nuclear processing. With basically step 0 mostly, but it's mainly uranium fuel rods. Over there are plutonium fuel rods, which in previous versions of the game were pretty much the last fuel you could get, and you couldn't do anything with the waste. Now with plutonium, oh, it's not gonna say it, that's fine. Burning plutonium now, or even before, gave you plutonium waste. Plutonium waste was an item that you couldn't do anything with. But now, in 1.0 or 1.1, I'm not sure when it was included, they added a Ficsonium and Ficsonium Fueld rod, which can get rid of the plutonium waste and give more power. And if I read correctly somewhere, it shouldn't produce any waste. Which means clean energy, right? No waste, no waste. And to give some overview, because I don't wanna travel the whole map, I have other builds, and don't mind the floating bits. I kind of went this playthrough of mostly flat designs, no aesthetics, at least for now. And yeah, but the flat aesthetics, it's first easy to build on, as I don't have to worry about anything. But secondly, for Satisfactory there are very interesting websites, just like this one, which you can find on Satisfactory calculator. You can find even planners, so they will kind of show you what to build in what ratios, etc. But I like the overview of the map, and I'm sorry it's gonna be a bit slower because my computer has enough of the game running in background. Okay, I'm not really gonna touch it too much. Yeah. And just to give one short overview. We are located in this area, and my plan is to expand or to build in this area the next fuel processing. That's the fuel processing. Then next section, if you go backwards, is this part, which is manufacturing the electromagnetic control rods and also nuclear pasta. The small thing up here are diesel generators with fuel for drones, plastic area with some rubber, all this is basically aluminum and aluminum products like heatsinks. This very small thing here is a steel area, and all of this is my main base, with oscillator production, computers over here, radios, lots of end products, etc. And I was like very smart and decided to build my reactors on other side of the map for my processing for some reason. I like the resources here, and I wanted my reactors to have close to my base, because why not? And also like the idea that all the trains will go through my base with all the waste. Safety first. Anyway, let's go back to the game and let's see what's ahead of us. As I mentioned, I do want to build over on that side. And I have like a dumb ideas. Of carrying resources from there over there. I have set up the train for plutonium waste already over there with uranium waste and raw uranium. And I was like, oh, that's sure interesting to have all three materials next to each other. So to begin, I kinda like hide with my trains. I'm not gonna give it lower or anything. But let's just get a platform very quickly. Just so I have power and I can float around. So the goal is to get plutonium waste processing. For that we are gonna need Singularity Cells and dark matter residue to get us Ficsonium, and Ficsonium is gonna need then control rods. That for later, and Fixite Dragon. Basically, this is free, literally. It's made from power. This is made from SEM. That's actually the new stuff that was... The SEM ore was always in the game. It just didn't have any use until now, which is nice to see. So these are basically free, these items. So I need just Singularity Cells, and this is pretty much not much. This is almost unnecessary step, but for this, either iron, aluminum, or deuterium, and I feel like I'm gonna go with iron recipe, which hopefully will give me enough. Oh well, that's for later. And my main idea is to work on this. So, yeah, to work out the ratio. We are going to need to have big boy. And another new building. Can I do this? Yes. That's for like main production. To actually finish the production, we need other things. So we will going to need manufacturer for this and converters. That's alright. Yeah, can I show you the sad recipes? So now what I need to work with. And then basically, this is mostly done. Or this is literally done. That's when I mentioned I'm already making nuclear pasta and I'm considering it done. It's not a new item. Iron plate, nothing special, right? Concrete, same. Dark matter crystals are not that difficult to make. They will be requiring another particle accelerator. But to get a kind of spice to it, we have three options. They use pretty much almost the same stuff, but it's either using time crystals as co-product or just diamonds. Funnily enough, I don't think like 30 diamonds per 30 or 30 time crystals, which is exactly the same ratio. I'm already looking at diamonds because why not? And thinking of if I'm gonna be cheap and do this or maybe this, use coal, limestone. I might do just simple oil. It's very wasteful, but whatever. Okay, so this will give us crystals for our singularity cells. With Singularity Cells we can do Ficsonium and then we can do Ficsonium Fueld rod. Oh. We cannot forget about the big side triangles. And this is just one step again. One very key thing to keep in mind, most of these late, or for me new, late game machines that work with photonic matter have byproduct of dark matter residue, which can be used in a machine like this, or in this machine, to produce dark matter crystal, which as far as I know should be sinkable, so it's like, it's a waste if you sink it, but it's also not a waste. There are ways to get rid of it, but it mostly looks like all of these processes are in a negative loop, which means you need to add rather than subtract. Only exception would be very interesting thing in the update is Summers loops, which can double the output without doubling the input. For the cost of power, of course, but with the reactors, hopefully the power is safe enough. It's to be seen how much power is this gonna be consuming. Also note, I'm mostly using non-overclocked machines, like the first ones are overclocked, and the rest is green. Over there everything green. Over here everything green, I think. Which saves power and makes the build look bigger, and also you can overclock them later if you are not triple limited. And for this, my plan is to make it in separate sections. One will be doing just the cells and then fuel reprocessing. Because the cells are gonna be useful in other builds as well, and I want to do just this. And here it looks like it's only useful for these two stuff, but that would be a lie. Because they are very useful for traveling. But that's for another time. Mainly after I build this. This is gonna take a minute. I'm gonna think this through, and we will see, and we will get who knows what. So I did think this through and I realized several stuff. It's several hours later, and I realized this build is gonna be a bit bigger than I anticipated, but that's fine. I'm just not gonna finish the fuel reprocessing at this moment. I did some preparations. I set up a basic build here for the Singularity Cells. Nuclear pasta was done, I just brought it here. I went to other side of the map again to this place and set up a concrete build. Also did set up a iron plate build and prepared the build just for this, for the dark matter crystals with all the requisites to it. The last thing that is missing to have this working, sorry, the autosave, is to get a time crystals. And I didn't really think it through again. It's fine. I was looking around how to get it, what would be the most efficient, because technically you can do it just as is, but I decided to do this part because, as you can see, you need less residue, you get 3 times as much, so that would be what, 4 times as much. And currently it's consuming 900 some ore for the efficient recipe. I was looking at time crystals from diamonds, and I was like, I could just use these, you know, or go with this. But no, I decided to go for this. So that's down here. That's 600 turbo fuel packaged and sent up. And another part of preparations were those are long belts, my waterfalls. Let's go up. Also these two belts. Power. I missed the power poles. And I also did preparation here for in a minute. And I brought here a how much? 7.5 belts. That's 7.5 times 1200. I brought here 9000 coal. From here, 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 and from here. That should be two of them, not just one. That's weird. And brought them here. I also need to bring this here in somewhat nice way. Hopefully this is not gonna block. No. Up. One. Yeah. So I did brought this stuff here, kind of set up a layout for diamonds, and then turn them into time crystals. So now my plan is to finish it and possibly do a time lapse of it, probably, yes. So let's get to it. And build is finished. I was rudely interrupted by missing resources because, again, I did not think this fully through, that each of these costs 100 Sun Fluctuator and 50 radios, which I usually have stockpile of, but probably not. But that's fine. It's 60 of them. I needed 80, 75, but that's fine. I have overclocked first 15 to double, so that's extra 15. Because yeah, I'm very much out of resources. I even started building, it's refilled, never mind. Made a temporary build to boost some items, but whatever. I have connected everything, hopefully, so let's see how it's gonna run. Okay, let's plug it in. Before 143, 110. Let's see how much power is this gonna chuck. They should be all firing up, hopefully. We have our diamonds. Damn it. Those are actually big as diamonds. I would like to have a machine like that. Oh well. 9,000 coal. Why not? Each of these machines is not that bad. 500 times 15, 7.5. That's 300 times 60. That's gonna make a dent. Okay, but we are getting our time crystals. It's going too quick. It's 900 diamonds, by the way. If my math is correct, which might or might not be. Yeah, I think it's gonna take a minute to flow this system. Which technically it will never overflow. That's fine. Why not profit from them? Let's continue. Because it's gonna be a long video. Or it already is a long video. I made yeah. I can get it now. This might have lined up. Let's see. That was fail. Yeah, let's see. Yes. That's even worse. Is it? No, it actually fits. Great. I intentionally producing a surplus of these. They will be useful. That's why it's such a huge build. But anyway, let's continue for the rest. And the rest is going to the particle accelerators to produce that stuff. The dark matter crystal form. Shiny. One 180. Bit more, but it's totally fine. And we have our Singularity Cells being produced. The logic on these belts is this one takes priority. There will be, imagine, a nuclear or plutonium waste reprocessing. Then rest will go here, as priority. And of course, rest is gonna sink, because I think those are not cheap. Power is fine. Probably it's not running at full speed yet. And I will call this here, end of this video. I know I was mentioning that I want to build a fuel reprocessing, but I feel like it's gonna be better as two parts. This was the first part, and the second part has also quite big build where I will need to process several thousands of materials, and I'm not counting for like overbuild. It's just gonna be big for just the fuel. I'm glad that, by the way, I used like the least efficient recipe, which produces the least amount of plutonium rods, because dealing with like the 4x, no thank you. But thank you for watching, and see you in the part 2 of the video.